Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the first ever 19th episode of Baseball versus the World, a podcast about how baseball relates to the world and how the rest of the world relates to baseball, part of the Just Baseball podcast media network. I am your host and guide on this maiden voyage through the vast cosmos of all things baseball. Javier Reyes, staff writer here at Just Baseball, as well as the host of the Locked On Padres podcast. Go check out both things, but especially check out the former. It is a very good website. And speaking of very good website, I am proud to have with me on today's show the return of my show, the co-founder of Just Baseball and a co-host of the flagship podcast Just Baseball. You know him. You know him as the not gambling advice fiend. You know him as the occasional Jazz Chisholm hater. You know him as quietly the only football fan at Just Baseball who's happy because he's a Rams guy, is Mr. Peter Appel. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on, Javi. And you're right. We do a lot of things over here at Just Baseball, but I don't know if any of us can have an intro like you just did. That was perfect. It was all smooth. So that's good on you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I mean, Jack is pretty good at it. He's all right. He's okay. It's
He's
a little
right.
bit, inconsistent. I don't know what is.
He's only the radio guy for the Marlins. It's not.
Yeah, like whatever, man. You know what I mean? So, other than that, no, thank you. I love doing crazy intros. And because this is a crazy show. And for those wondering, because we've been offline for a bit here at Baseball versus the World, just it's personal stuff for the most part, but we are back. And we are rolling, and I'm excited to just do a litany of ridiculous topics on this show. And what we'll be doing today is talking about funny stuff, because baseball is I don't think it's like the funniest. I don't think this is, apex Charlie Chaplin, revolutionary humor that baseball gives us, but it is quietly a lot funnier than I think people realize. So we're going to be each of us listing our 5 funniest moments that happened from the past year in all things baseball, and then listing some of our honorable mentions. It's going to be very fun, and just excited to be hosting the show again. It's been a while again, and I'm excited to have Peter on. I would not want to have it any other way, man.
Let's get after it. It's going to be fun. Yeah, it was fun just going back and looking up stuff and being like, oh, right, that was hilarious. And like, there was, of course, plenty that just kind of hit the top of your head, but to go in and kind of look through, I found some under the radar funny moments that I forgot about, now bringing them back to the forefront. It's a good way to start, because March is just beginning and getting people back into the spirit of baseball.
Absolutely, man. Just really good stuff. Let's just get into it, man, because here's the thing. Like, when you do these things, when you go back and look through it, like we were talking before we started recording, like, wow, yeah, I forgot about that. Like, just, it's funny. I really think that we need to do more retrospective look backs and like really dive deep, and not even to like criticize people, because I once said Trent Grisham was going to be an MVP contender. Like, who cares about that? Yeah, I know.
Good start for funny things that we've gone over. Yeah,
exactly. Your boy in center field. I don't know if he's going to be playing a lot there this year, but
we'll see.
It's really funny, like all the storylines we forget about. And like, I still remember when like Rob Manfred calling the World Series trophy a piece of metal was like all people talked about for like a year, and then we forget it. So this is going to be a fun podcast to look back at those things. I, of course, as the host. I mean, is it usually host that goes first? I don't even know these days. Should host go first or guest?
Up to you. It's your show.
This is true. This is a good point.
No, actually, it's not the host has to go first. The host decides who's going first.
That's right. That's right. I'm going to go first because it's the one that we've been talking about. And in your honor, doing all the gambling content you do, everybody go check out Just Baseball. He is working on the future bets, folks. And I actually read an article myself on the Diamondbacks win total that I am very, very bullish on as well. So go check that out at the website. Let's start with some gambling related content. It is CJ Abrams of the Washington Nationals. Dare I say the funniest thing that happened in 2024. And if it was only a little bit more relevant of a team in the playoff picture, I think this story could have gone like nuclear. It didn't. It was just really, really funny. We had a laugh in the group chat. CJ Abrams being ostensibly suspended and demoted following a night of staying up way too late at a casino. And I don't know what else was going on there necessarily, but the picture of someone, I don't know who the soul was, this beautiful angel out there who snapped this photo of CJ Abrams that we'll put on the screen for people who haven't seen it. Just at a casino. He stayed up reportedly until like 8 a.m. there. And look, frankly, I think there's a more sinister side to this. I do start to wonder, I feel like, if this is your first mistake, a team doesn't send you back to AAA. They're more like, all right, you're not playing today. Get it together, you bozo. But if you're getting sent back to AAA, yeah, I do worry a little bit about Abrams and maybe, what exactly is he doing there. But then again, young kid, we've all done dumb things, especially at his age. But Peter, man, this is one of our best moments. Has this ever happened to you before?
No, I haven't been 8 a.m. casino, but I will give it to CJ Abrams because for every player, right, you want a winner and a guy who's going to grind to get those wins. So you could say it's a testament to his fortitude as a winner. But no, of course, that's just a joke. I think, I was going to write down Ipe Mizuhara and Shohei, of course, but I think that's a much different situation here where a translator basically lies his way into Shohei Ohtani's wallet to support his gambling addiction. That's more sad and kind of horrible. Where with CJ Abrams, it looked to be kind of solved immediately. It was a young guy taking a picture in a casino really, really late, and there was repercussions clearly for it. And then he bounces back and he's totally fine. And we haven't heard anything about it since. So I'm sure even if you were to bring it up to CJ Abrams now, he might laugh at it. So that's why I think it's a great addition to one of the funniest things in 2024.
I will say the Ipe thing, I don't even know if this is true. And this is the thing. I'm on Twitter a little bit less these days, and this is part of the reason why, because I never know what's true anymore. But I saw that there was like a voice recording that came out from Ipe, like try to impersonate Shohei. I don't know if that was true. Okay, if that was true, that might be funny.
Yeah,
that might be funny.
Yeah,
just the fact that
yeah, just kind of whispering weirdly. Didn't you notice like the tone was very like quiet, as if they would? I don't know how he was trying to.
He himself is like, damn, I really have sunk, man. This is really what I'm doing right now. All right, got to commit to the bit, I guess. I will say I have been in situations in my life where I was supposed to be not at a place and someone took a photo of me and it caused unnecessary drama that lasted maybe 2 days, but it was still like, dude, yeah, I told that one friend I was hanging out and then it said, why'd you have to do that to me? Why do you gotta do me like that? CJ Abrams, you beautiful, beautiful, sweet angel. Don't do that again. Maybe just stay up until 1 a.m. next time or 2 a.m. Because sometimes I get it. You know what I mean? We got a lot of stuff out there and there's a lot of sports and you and I are sickos. But that is my first pick. Peter, let's keep it rolling. What do you have for your first pick of funniest moments of 2024?
So I don't know if it's first pick means it is quite the funniest, but the first thing that came to my head when we were doing this exercise, do you remember the story about Alex Verdugo being allergic to batting gloves?
Oh my God, yes, I forgot about this.
I don't know, like, I feel bad for him, of course, but I couldn't believe it when I heard it. Like, it was causing him legitimate problems that he's allergic to some of the lining and batting gloves. I don't even have much to add. I just couldn't believe it when it came across. I'm glad he's okay, but what the hell is even that?
Yeah, it's you know what it is? It's kind of follows in footsteps with the Anthony Rizzo and then being like, yeah, he's been concussed for 2 months as he hits below 100. And then the Yankees finally figured that out.
That's more on the Yankees. Like, that's not funny with Anthony Rizzo. He's out here grinding with a concussion, but it's like the Yankees more pushing it to the side. With Verdugo, it's like he comes out immediately and says, I've been struggling because I'm allergic to batting gloves. Like, didn't you figure that out earlier? Like a concussion, it's like in your head.
True.
It's tough because you might feel groggy, but he's like seeing a rash on his hands. Like, how are you not dealing with this as soon as it happens? And you've been a baseball player your entire life.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. That's like,
it's all like, it's different if Anthony Rizzo had a concussion for his entire life.
Yeah, true. It's like
what?
Like, wait, what?
New allergy? Who gets new allergies at 28?
That's like, you know what? What's a better cop? It's almost like how does this happen to you this late? It's like the Sam Darnold, the mononucleosis.
Yeah, just coming out of nowhere or something.
What? We're just like, what? This is new. This is a new one for the Lego board.
Developing a peanut allergy at 30. It's like, what?
And on top of that, you can imagine, given the, let's say, poor season that Verdugo had, who I believe is he still a free agent?
Still a free agent.
Still a free agent. That there were plenty of jokes to be had.
There's a group of Yankee fans who are like, bring Dougie back. And I'm like, why? I mean, what do we no thanks. I mean, shout out Alex Verdugo, but no thank you.
I will always and forever remember Alex Verdugo for the Mookie Betts trade. I'm sorry, dude. It's your destiny. But
he should be signed. He's still a fine player.
Yeah, he'll be. I think he will be. I think at some
Like
point. We still got a
he
few weeks left.
immediately, your team, you could use him right now. I mean, the
Yeah,
Padres could use him today.
Look, man, don't count out Jason Hayward. He won the Cubs a World Series. Greatest halftime or locker room speech of all time, from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
they grabbed the Avengers of the retirement home to get into DH in left field spot. You got Hayward, you got Yuli Gurriel, Gavin Sheets, maybe.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All they need is JD Martinez to complete it, who might still be a little bit good,
He's
but
pretty good.
still,
Yeah.
yeah, still might fit your point though. I totally forgot about this. Verdugo was funny for a bunch of reasons. I remember he. Let's add this not as part of my list, but as a sub note. I believe he pimped a home run when they were down. Weren't they down? I think it was the World Series. I think Verdugo pimped a home run. It was like,
It's
dude,
so funny because one of my funny things is in this World Series, and that World Series to me is such a blur because I was just so unhappy that it's like I don't remember him pimping a home run down. It probably got me pissed in the moment, but I was just pissed in general the whole time. So it's like maybe that happened. I'm not sure.
I looked it up, read it. It doesn't have the link anymore, but it says Alex Verdugo hits a huge home run to cut the Dodger lead to 2, like the Chris Paul meme. So it probably did. For those out there, go look that up. But I just want to add that to the lore of Alex Verdugo in Yankee land. Dare I say a signing that nobody was excited about, and
fun,
they were proven right. Yeah, I mean,
I'm glad we had him for a little bit. Like it wasn't horrible or anything. He was fine. He just wasn't great, you know. And with the Yankees fans, if you're not great, you're terrible.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm going with my next one here. I'm going with something that started all. I mean, we were just on fire with this one, frankly. This is a guy who has been ridiculed a lot, and he should continue to be ridiculed, literally until he leaves. And that is John Fisher of the Sacramento / Oakland / wants to be Vegas / whatever A's, citing Aaron Judge when talking about the new ballpark that they're going to have. This is it's a subtle one. It's subtle. It's quick. It's brief. But he gives a press conference. They're talking about how they're going to be playing in what is ostensibly a minor league-esque ballpark. You know what I mean? We all know about the A's things. You guys have talked about that a lot on Just Baseball Show. Again, one of the things, if there's very few things everybody can agree on, John Fisher being terrible is something that like everyone can agree on.
One quick thing, not only can 29 teams agree with that, the team he's the owner of hates him the most. So it's like, yeah, I think we could all agree for sure.
Absolutely. And he says he is excited to watch some of the best players in baseball hit home runs in that ballpark. And rather than mentioning any A's player, like, I don't know, a player you have that is pretty known for hitting home runs in Brent Rooker, maybe you put in Zach Geloff, maybe you throw in, maybe even just talk about, we're going to limit home runs here with Mason Miller, or, I mean, we didn't know, but I'm blanking on his name, the A's guy currently, that looks really good.
Lawrence Butler,
thank you. Instead, you cite Aaron Judge, which is like, we like throwing around the phrase casual a lot. It's just fun. We usually use it pretty like facetiously. We don't actually mean it. I use it on myself all the time. Jack has an ongoing bit in our chat that I secretly hate baseball. And this was actually the epitome of that. It was really funny. And frankly, Peter, it points towards like what kind of brain this man has, which is a disregard for anything except money. I just was like, baseball player, famous, Aaron Judge. Not even someone that is related to the A's. Not even someone who we might have targeted once upon a time. Like nothing, just all I care about is money and just what will get me the SEO clicks is apparently what he was going for here. And I found it pretty funny because everyone was like, dude, are you kidding me? You guys, you have good players. And I have to imagine that maybe some A's players, I'd like to imagine they laughed over that as well.
Brent Rooker hit 39 home runs last year.
Seriously.
In the Coliseum. It's like a really tough place to hit home runs consistently. Hit 39. I mean, you have, Brent Rooker, if we're talking about marketable players on Twitter, he's one of the best personalities that we have in the game. So one of the best personalities that we have in the game who has a massive Twitter following, who hit 39 home runs, and your thought is, well, the fans are going to be excited to see Aaron Judge that one time he comes in May. Like, what are you doing? It's almost so stupid and hilarious, it makes me mad. That's why I didn't include it, because it's like, for me at least,
it does make me mad
too,
head,
it just pisses me off so much because of this stupidity. But for everybody else, that's why it's good to be on this list. Is it's so stupid that it is funny. Like, it's funny how dumb he is. Freaking John Fisher. All right, should I get to my second one?
Yes, I will say though, he did not hit the 39 home runs, but don't worry, he hit 30 home runs this
Brett
past
Rooker.
season. No, I know.
Brett Rooker.
What I'm saying is, when John Fisher made this comment, he was coming off the 30 home run season.
Yes, okay.
But recently it was 39. No, but still, that makes it age even worse. And it's like, and dare I say, Brett Rooker, more interesting personality than Aaron Judge. But that's
so basically what we're saying is he hit 9 more home runs than already his big time power hitter who hit 30. All right, so I have one. Just a small quirk that when it happened, again, the first one that came to the top of my mind, burst out laughing. Remember when Josh Naylor hit that home run and then hit himself on the head with the bat as he was rounding first?
Vaguely. Is this the one where he was then doing the baby carry thing or no?
No, so it was on April 20th. And if you go look it up, right, you go look up on YouTube, Josh Naylor hitting himself in the head with a bat. He hits a home run and he crushes it to right center. Right, he pimps it a little bit, and he's still holding the bat as he's exiting the box. And as he's running, instead of dropping the bat, he hits himself on the head with the bat and then throws it. Like, I only can compare it to, remember when Bo Jackson like broke when he was upset? But this was just Josh Naylor so fired up that he took his own bat and just hit himself in the head and threw it down and then ran around the bases for a homer. And I was just like, oh. Like I was watching it alone and I'm like looking for reactions around me. And I was like, what the hell was even that? I thought that was hilarious. It was so small, but it was so absurd and I couldn't believe he did it.
Underrated thing about baseball is always like those moments when you're the sicko that's watching like A's Reds at 11:30 Eastern time and nobody's up and you're like, wait, what just happened there? It's just really, really crazy.
I'm thinking about Jeffrey Yan, right? Like if the Rockies are playing sometime in May against the with all due respect, the Marlins, let's say. And Jeffrey Yan just jumps after a strikeout and it's on a West Coast game and nobody saw it. It's like Rockies fans and Marlins fans are just looking at the screen like, did this guy just jump 5 feet in the air after a strikeout? It's like one of those things.
Absolutely, sir. I just like Josh Naylor. What a character. Excited to see him do probably well against my team, his former team, in the NL West, the only division in baseball that tries, which is like an esoteric one that I'd also like to add to this list. Not literally add, but
AL East absolutely tries. The
AL East
is good. The NL East, you're crazy. You're crazy.
No, NL West. I'm sorry, NL West. NL West is like just continually. I'm just sitting here like the Padres are trying to change the circumstances of their birth. You know, they are just a team that was surrounded by horror and ineptitude, and they start spending, and then every team's like, let's just let them get every all-star. Who cares, right? Like it's just very the indifference. You know what I mean? It's not the viciousness of others that dooms us as a society of Peter.
Yeah.
It is the indifference of those who could make a difference. That is what dooms us, my friend. I butchered that quote, but go look it up. It's probably out there somewhere. The good one as well. Josh Naylor. And also shout out to the baby carriage moment, which was funny because of how, at the time, out of nowhere it was. And I was just it wasn't even cringe. It was just a lot. You know? It was just a lot. Yeah, Josh Naylor is a lot. Josh Naylor is a lot.
I like Josh Naylor.
He's absolutely fun. With my next one, I would argue this is the funniest thing. There's just something about it that gets me. I just Emmanuel Clase, postseason, one of the better postseasons in a while. And we always talk about the volatility of relievers. That's always the thing that we talk about. There have been guys that have blown up before. Frankly, some people would even argue in this segment of ours that we could cite the Zach Britton year when, for some reason, my boy, who I'm now blanking on, awesome, decided not to use Zach Britton in the playoffs. Former Orioles manager, Mets. I'm blanking on his name.
Buck Showalter.
Buck Showalter. Thank you. I told you guys I was a casual. God damn it. When he didn't use Zach Britton in the playoffs. Instead, some might say Buck Showalter should have been the manager of this Cleveland Guardians team because Clase got absolutely torched in the postseason, giving up like 6 runs in 5 appearances. He didn't give up more than like 4 all season. He had one of the best single seasons for a reliever in a while. And it wasn't even just out of nowhere. He had been good many years before this too. So it's just to emphasize how unexpected it was. And there was something about how he was just posting through it, man. I feel bad. I feel bad. I actually feel bad including this. I might replace it later. Just posting through it, going on Instagram, I'm pretty sure it was afterwards, posting his awards, whatever it was, on like his award shelf because people were coming after him. Part of me feels bad, but it was just like I just related to it because Peter, I would do the same exact goddamn thing. I would do the same thing if everybody was making fun of me because 162 game season for months. I have been nails. I have been ripping it. And some dude named Yankees Mob for Life and some dude who didn't even make it past T-ball and doesn't even know what WRC plus is or any stats and can't throw more than 60 miles per hour is like, you suck, all these things. I'm not going to lie. I might petty post and be like, oh yeah, check this shit out. So I don't know. I think that it was a very human vote for Clase. You obviously shouldn't do that because it's just making it worse for you. I don't care about the fans, like literally at all. I think that fans often are given way too much of a leeway, and I don't think that athletes are sensitive for sometimes responding to him. That's not what I find funny here. I just find it funny that he was posting through it. You have to, and we've all posted through it. I've posted some heinous things on my Twitter account that people don't realize that I was just something awful happened. And I was like, I'm going to tweet about how Stitch made me laugh tonight or how I farted into a bottle once or whatever the hell I tweet about. Right. Like that's just what we do sometimes. Emmanuel Clase, he's just like us.
He is just like us. And it's a good reminder that athletes are human too. So, they see all the hate online and, he's probably thinking to himself, like, because he was posting kind of throughout it. It wasn't after all of the tough outings in a row, then he just started posting stuff. Like he was posting as is. And there was that one post where he posted his awards, like after a tough outing in the playoffs, and just kind of a reminder to people. And then everyone just continued to trash him too. Like it was just a very tough situation. You want me to get to my pick?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right. So
This is your fourth or third?
This is my third.
This is your third.
So I got Josh Naylor hitting a home run, then hitting himself on the head with his bat, and I have Alex Verdugo being allergic to batting gloves.
That was
my
amazing.
guy, Cal Quantril, the freaking legend.
Yeah,
you jacked off in a parking lot, you dumb effer.
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
Started a brawl. Probably the most. I don't even know if that's like funny. It's hilarious. No, it is funny, but it's more legendary. Like Cal is just staring at this guy over a brawl that started kind of over nothing. Just yells that out at him, and then just the bench is clear. And I remember I was talking to Cal afterwards, and he didn't really want to talk about it, but I was just saying, like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That was so cool. It's look, like the actual act that the player did isn't cool. Just to clarify for everybody, it's that he yelled it back at him because he was talking, like, and it was just like, well, how do you come back from that? You're like, yeah, man, I gotta take a seat. Like, I can't come back after that, man.
Yeah, it's like you hear the best. You can go on compilations and hear like best NBA trash talking moments, and Kevin Garnett had so many good ones, right? Calling people out, or when there's a really good player with a guy who, in high school, right? I saw a clip lately where it's like this 5-star recruit is just saying, yeah, but you know me though, to like a 1-star recruit who is like busting his ass. I don't know. But that just straight out, like, who are you talking to right now? Look at the past. Look at what you have done in the past. Like, you should not be saying shit. And then him getting upset about it, I thought was a hilarious moment.
Very well said, man. Yeah, that was a big day for you. Your stock went like through the roof. You've had a fun set of players that you follow because you like them and you like their skill, but then you make them your personality. You make them a little bit of a bit. And then this was a long payoff on top of knowing Cal himself and top of interviewing him on the Just Baseball show. Everybody go check that out. Then for him to have an objectively just really rad moment, it's kind of sick. And
I've never been tagged more in posts in my entire Twitter career. I mean, I felt like I was the one to call Reese McGuire that. Like it was unbelievable everywhere. Peter Appel. It was awesome, and I love Cal to death. So I'll stand with him till the end of time.
Absolutely, that's good. I mean, as we should. as we should. Just I gotta put it out there. I'm a coward. I'm a piece of shit in a lot of ways. Like, don't get me wrong, but we got some cowards lurking at Just Baseball. You want a certain bet, man. You want a certain wager, a gentleman's wager with a certain individual at this company. Some might even say he's the co-founder of this company. And was there a lot of like divine intervention luck with a couple of those starts?
There was an ERA bet, and Arm lost, and it was like 2 years ago. Haven't seen a tattoo. Also won a bet against Jack, and he's got to mention my ball knowing skills on a broadcast, and then he gets the Radio Marlins job. So you know that ain't happening either. So why am I even making these bets with these guys if they don't actually come through on their wager?
It's ridiculous. I beat Arb in a bet once, and he had to change his profile picture. I said for 2 weeks. He waited 4 months, and changed it for 3 days. And I was just like, this isn't.
Why are we making bets anyway? Like, if you're not going to honor the price, it's just
look. And I'm not a money bet guy. You know what I mean? I like to humiliate you.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, we like it's for the love of the game, man.
For the love of the game. I like that. That's how you should phrase it. It is for the love of the game.
I still believe he owes me a pizza because Odell Beckham Jr. had a good stretch with the Rams. It was a dumb little gentleman. I know, really dumb, but I was like, no, he's good. And then he's like, no, he sucks. And then he had like 4 touchdowns. Really good pick, though. Shout out to Cal Quantril. Always killer Cal. My next one on this list is one that we're going to have to play the video. You have to look it up, everybody. It is on YouTube. It is very similar to the years ago, Patrick Mahomes, the now for many people satanic Patrick Mahomes. But at this time, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, the memes on Patrick Mahomes all the time are pretty nuts these days. Patrick Mahomes didn't get a call, and then at one point he then runs for the first down, and then just in the middle of that looks back at the ref with like the ultimate mean look. Juan Soto did the exact same thing early on Apple TV baseball against the Houston Astros, in which he didn't like the calls that the ump were giving. Right. And then he launches one to left or to right field, I believe it was. Go look up Juan Soto flips bat and looks at home plate umpire. You'll find it against the Astros. And then he just mean mugs the umpire as he's walking to first base. I was watching actually this one with my mom, and she was like, yeah, I know you like Soto, so now he's on my team and your dad's team, and this is great. Like, this is awesome. And she instantly became a fan after that moment. It was really cool. There's a lot of funny things about Juan Soto. It's really funny to me, not just that he does the shuffle, but that no one else can pull that off without looking like an idiot unless you're nasty as hell at the sport. Like, everyone would be at some point like, oh, get a load of this guy. You know, get a load of this guy over here. But he pulls it off. So I think it's kind of funny that everybody just like begrudgingly has to let it slide. Similar to like Jared McCain of the Philadelphia 76ers, that like he does his TikToks and then the Sixers players begrudgingly, since he's nice, are all like, fine, you know, like doing their dance or whatever. This is Juan Soto. Got a little bit off track there, but that was really funny. And Soto himself, great personality. I don't think it's his funniest moment. I don't know where the quote can be found. I think it was with the Padres when they asked him why his batting average was down, and he simply stated, why would I swing at the pitches if they're balls? Like, I swing at strikes.
Yeah.
And you know what? A great philosopher, I think Juan Soto is in many ways. That's my 4th pick.
No, as a Yankee fan, I grew to love that guy so much. I mean, watching him every day in the box was a pleasure. I still think he is the best operator of an at-bat that I have ever seen. That doesn't mean the best hitter I've ever seen. Aaron Judge is likely the best hitter I've ever seen, and the numbers would back that up. People would say, well, did you see Barry Bonds? Well, I was just so young, but right now, Aaron Judge would be the best player I've ever seen, but Juan Soto is the best operator at bat, kind of similar to Miguel Cabrera or to Joey Votto, and it stemmed from his immense confidence. Because we're talking about him doing the Soto shuffle last year, when he's already been one of the best players in baseball since he debuted. He was doing this in 2019 with the Nationals as a 20-year-old. This guy breeds confidence, and it shows up at the plate too. Like, when he thinks that it's a ball, he is a better judge of that than most umpires. Like, that's how good of an eye he has. Like, when Votto would do the same thing. So for him to look back at an umpire, I'm not surprised at all. And I saw that plenty of times. And it also, the new ABS challenge system is going to be really fun. because we might be able to see the best hitters in the world with the best eyes be able to challenge, and let's see how well they actually know the zone. We were talking about it on the Just Baseball show. It's going to be fun to look at those stats at the end of the year. Of course, it's not happening this year, probably not until the new CBA, but when it does, StatCast is going to be tracking that. So we're going to see who is the worst challengers and who are the best challengers. That's something that might make it on the show. Be like, this player challenged 12 times and he was over 12. Like, stop. Like, that's going to be something that we could add into the show in 2027.
Yeah, the ball don't lie system, dare I say.
Ball don't lie. We just talked about that as well. Ball don't lie. It's the perfect ball don't lie rule.
It really is. I'm just a big fan of anything that can possibly be conducive to just silly moments like this. So I'm a big fan of that. But shouts to Juan Soto, his gangster moment, just looking back at the umpire. Something that you see players get mad at the umpires all the time, don't get me wrong. But to look back as you're running to first base is such an FU. It's so disrespectful. And again, like you said, breeds just one of the most, and all players are confident, but we see it with Juan Soto. I really do think more than
letting it. It's like
Bryce Harper's got it too. Harper's got it too.
Jordan's
got it. Jordan's got it. There's definitely some guys.
Scherzer's got it.
Jazz Chisholm has it. Right? Like
maybe he does.
Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. But he absolutely gets up in that play and he's rocking his one-piece chain. I love Jazz so much. But that's my fourth pick. Peter, what you got for your fourth?
So I got two good ones, but I'm gonna get this one so it doesn't get drafted before I go to my last one. I don't know how this hasn't gone off the board yet, but OMG by Jose Iglesias becoming an anthem. That's the most that would make a list, I think, of the 21st century of baseball things. Like, we have a guy who was a utility man who hit 340. Like, we forget these things.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a player that made this song and he was riding the bench and he was this was an integral part to the Mets' success, right? We think of the 2024 Mets. The first word that comes to my mind when describing them is magic, right? There was a lot of game winners. There was a lot of come from behind stuff. There was a lot of huge moments that made rooting for the Mets probably the most fun root for any fan base in 2024. Right. Of course, the Dodgers win the World Series and the Yankees get to the World Series. But on a day-by-day basis, like you even felt it. I live in New York, going to Citi Field. Going to those games were electric. The crowd was into it. And they sing the song, right? And this is on the heels of them having Edwin Diaz with the greatest walk-up song for a closer. Then they parlay that straight into OMG, which becomes a legitimate song. He's playing it at the All-Star Awards. And it sounds good. It's not a bad song. It's not, right? Like, we've heard all of these random songs, right? I think back in the 80s and the 90s, I think it was the 1986 Mets. I'm pretty sure came up with their Mets song, and it was terrible because it was rapped by a bunch of those guys, but it was fun, right? But this OMG song was legitimately good.
This is fun and good. Yeah.
This was a fun player. I don't know if that's because technically this is funniest moments. I had to add this because I think it's the funnest moment. And there's a sense of an MLB player just made a legitimate song. That's hilarious. So I had to get it now.
Look, maybe on social, I'll just put funniest / coolest, fun, silliest. I'll come up with the right adjective to make everything just for this one, because I agree. These last few years, man, look, I mean, not to get controversial, but I remember the great American philosopher, Curtis Granderson, once said,
I love Grandy. So I met him once in person.
Oh, really?
I met him once in person, and the two nicest MLB players that I've ever met, besides like in person, right? I haven't even met Cal Quantril in person. Tanner Bybee is another guy I love. Walker Buehler would be up there in terms of nicest, but the nicest interactions were Nick Swisher, Curtis Granderson. Curtis Granderson, the smile that some guys just, you look at them and then you're just I know that's a kind person. They just exude it, and Granderson had it.
He did, man. And I'll never forget, in quote, a lot of the people I've been in New York have always said that true New Yorkers are Mets fans. So I'm excited to get a chance to see them all out there. After being with the Yankees, whew, and you know what? That quote, when we look at it, maybe it wasn't true initially, right? They had the Matt Harvey, the Dark Knight. Okay, they were a little bit fun around there. Then David Wright couldn't stay healthy, and then Jose Reyes was bad, blah, 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 blah. But nowadays, it's like the Yankees just got rid of the facial hair rule. And meanwhile, Steve Cohen's like, yeah, play a concert after the game. I don't give a shit. Like, he's just like, whatever.
He's making it more fun. He's making it more fun.
Making it more fun.
I am a Yankee fan, but it's hard not to see,
Mm-hmm.
the guys in the other borough are having more fun right now. I think the
Mm-hmm.
Yankees feel that. And I think that's what happened where, Hal Steinbrenner came out and said, if a player won't come here because of the beard policy, this is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so they're dealing with guys not coming over because of the lack of fun, the lack of letting
Mm-hmm.
you be yourself. While Steve Cohen's like, Jose Iglesias, you want to make a song? Yeah. And then let's make it an anthem. Let's build around you. And then Jose Iglesias has his best year. Let's not coincidence to have all that confidence at the plate. You got your whole team backing you. You got the front office backing you. Like, they're building a great thing over there. And it happens year over year, right? 2023, Edwin Diaz and I think it was, is the song called Narcos? I think it is.
Yes, I think it's Narcos. Yeah,
it's called Narcos. And then OMG, like back-to-back years. What other teams can say that? So they're off to a great start. So OMG had to be drafted here.
There really has been like a real sort of Detroit Lions-esque vibe shift where they've just become the cool team now. Yeah. You know what I mean? The Lions, Kyle Brandt, Good Morning Football, did this thing too. It's like they're named after like Genesis characters with Sonic and Knuckles. They've got Dan Campbell going from kneecaps and all that, but then everyone being like, oh wait, he's doing good stuff there. The Mets looked at a little bit of a laughing stock. So I know a lot of people, the nerds, they love tightening their glasses and being like, well, I think that their pitching rotation is going to be very good. I don't care, man. Have you ever just go to a Mets game, which Peter Appel, I promise you I'm going this year one way or another. I'm finding a way. I mean, we've been to a Yankee game together too before, but the Citi Field, just the atmosphere, it feels good. It feels like we're having fun, which is funny coming from Steve Cohen, the super rich guy. You wouldn't think that he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm with it. I'll understand everything. No, instead, he, dare I say, has showcased how little it takes in a way to get your fan base excited. I'm not talking about winning. That's hard, right? I'm not talking about winning World Series. That's hard. But I remember my friend was like, best owner ever, when all he did after the Lindor trade, he was just like, he just tweeted, he's like, oh, so who should we get next? And everybody lost it on his Twitter account. It's kind of amazing how much the Mets have transformed. And in a way, I think part of it is actually not as difficult as people realize. A lot of teams could do fun gimmicks like this. A lot of teams could just sign a couple free agents, have some concerts, just be out there doing fun stuff. I promise you, Pittsburgh Pirates, you could do the same. But unfortunately, you're in a kind of stinkies. But alas, Peter, I'm going to give my last one, and it is one near and dear to my heart. It is another team that transformed itself. But unfortunately, we have some biases out there. The lamestream media gets in the way sometimes. And it was a result of the Padres, not to look, this is the sensitive subject, but they had the audacity to have beer thrown at them in the middle of a playoff game. So what does Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic do? The same jokester fraud that said we were getting Max Scherzer and broke my heart. He writes up an article titled, and I quote, "The Sinister Sling and the Multitudes of Manny Machado." Now you may be wondering, well, Javi, you just told me that the Padres got beer thrown at them. What is the sling? Did he throw? Did he slingshot him? Did he punch someone? No. Manny Machado threw a ball on the ground, not directly like it was like dodgeball. Threw a ball, like kind of skipped it into the Dodgers dugout. And Ken Rosenthal chose to highlight that. Now let me lay out the sequence of events for everyone, because truly, there's a lot of people who, when you watch the MLB Network coverage, if you read the Athletic article that Rosenthal did, tried to paint the Padres as Thanos, that they were evil, that they were the Suicide Squad, and that the boys in blue in LA are, the Avengers, Steve Rogers, Captain America, pure souls who, have signed some questionable players over the past few years as if they're pure. No team is pure, so it's BS. But it starts with Jurickson Profar making a catch and doing what we have been begging baseball to do forever, which is showboating a bit. You know what I mean? Adding some flair. And he's doing a little hop, looking at the fan. And what's funny about that play, Peter, by the way, I've watched it like 100 times because I love Jurickson Profar. Hope you do well in Atlanta, buddy. The fan, one of them, a lot of them are just shocked that he caught it. And then one fan looks back at him, he's like, well played. Like you caught the ball. He's doing a little bounce or whatever. And then later in the game, fans start to throw stuff at Profar, something that is very dangerous. We saw bad fan behavior in the World Series, of course, with Mookie Betts, which you remember from the Yankees. And then also they threw beer at Fernando Tatis Jr., who was on the other side of the field. Dodger fans have, at least online ones, spent a lot of time replying to me saying, well, he shouldn't have taunted the fans. Oh, yes. Yes. The very innocent entity known as baseball fans. Okay, so you talk some smack, we throw beer at you. Good to see that that's where we're at. And then we have, give me a second, Jack Flaherty hits, I believe, I forgot who he hit, actually. Was it Tatis? I forgot who he hits, actually, after that. I think he throws inside on someone pretty
Yeah,
stark.
I can't really remember the exact player.
This is now 3 steps by the Dodgers first before the Padres have done anything. And then in between innings, after all this, Manny Machado throws the ball into the dugout. And genuinely, seriously, hilarious reaction. Everybody go look up the video of like the ball isn't even close to Dave Roberts. And you see a skip of the ball. He goes, oh, hey! he's like, hey, who did that? And you see players point or whatever. And that's what Ken Rosenthal wrote about. And I think it's hilarious that we tried to make the Dodgers victims. Because on top of that, dear listener, I'm not done. I'm not done, Peter. After that, after all this, after the Dodgers win, Dave Roberts is like, yeah, because he's talking about this Manny Machado. It's real class, is what he did. After the season, what does he say? He's like, yeah, completely contrived it. I didn't care that he did that. I've known Manny for a long time. Are you kidding me, Ken Rosenthal? It's just like, there's a lot of things funny about this. It's frustrating. It's fun to look back at now, but it's like, you know where I'm going, Peter. You know what I mean? I know that I'm biased here, but it was the sinister sling. Like, I just need you guys to like just that one part. Let's leave it at that. Forget everything else I said. The sinister sling, Peter.
It's one thing to do something like that, which Ken Rosenthal did with the sinister sling. It's another thing to come out afterwards and be like, yeah, it's basically contrived. I'm curious, is Ken Rosenthal public enemy number 1 for Padres fans? Or is there...
Ooh, it's close. I actually think it's Roki Sasaki right now. I really do.
And like preying on his downfall so much.
I approve of it a little bit, only because I don't think it's not that he chose the Padres or chose the Dodgers.
Well, he was wearing Padres stuff in Petco.
Manny Machado came out actually at FanFest and was like, yeah, it felt like he kind of made up his mind already that he wanted to be a Dodger. So it was kind of like, we were a little bit like, why do that? I think that's why. At least that's why I am like, yeah, that's kind of lame. I would prefer if he chose back in like September. Yeah, I'm going to Dodgers. I've been like, that stinks. That's boring. But like, I get it. You're going to a foreign country. Yamamoto, Ohtani, all these guys. Like, I totally understand that. But it feels when you add things up, John Heyman, the Blue Jays have a real chance. 5 minutes later, he signs with the Dodgers. Literally, I'm not making that up. There's a feeling of, were we just being jerked around here? Like, were we just being like, taken along for a ride? I don't mind it. I just don't like the facade of a sweepstakes. And I think that's why Padres fans are mad. They aren't mad at Yamamoto. They don't hate Ohtani. They're just like, well, this stinks that we have to deal with it. But I think it's Roki Sasaki, and then it's Eric Hosmer, and then it's Ken Rosenthal. And then it's Ken Rosenthal. Eric Hosmer is still, and he plays into it a little bit, which I give him credit for.
I've seen him on his clips on his show. Yeah, he does play into it. So at least there's that. My last one. This is another one that came straight to my mind. Remember when Aaron Boone got ejected, but the umpire was reacting to what a fan said?
Oh yeah.
So the fan like yelled something at the umpire, and the umpire just looks at Boone and tosses him, and Boone's like you know that meme? I think it's like that white ferret where he's just standing there like
yeah. Oh yeah. The weird looking ferret thing. Yeah.
And then the umpire, and that just goes to show like why umpires annoy me sometimes. Like you hear it afterwards. It's not like the umpire comes out and says, I'm really sorry, that was a huge mistake. Of course not. We never hear from him again. And in the moment too, like Boone freaking out, because Boone gets thrown out all the time. Like, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it fires up the clubhouse a little bit. Sometimes it's too over the top, but most of the time, I'm freaking out about that same call that he's freaking out about. So as a fan, it's good to see your umpire, or excuse me, good to see your manager kind of reflect what the fans and probably the players are thinking in the dugout. But Boone is used to getting thrown out on his own merit when he knows that he deserves it. But to get thrown out just because the umpires are used to hearing what you yell, but it didn't come from you this time, that was his funniest tirade, where it was pure confusion. It was it was the most confused mad I've ever seen him, because it's more like, what the hell is going on, rather than this is wrong. And that's why I thought it was the funniest ejection of the year.
Yeah, he was beside himself. It was just like a combination of anger, but it also gets a little bit of water doused on it of just confusion.
Yeah,
the combination of confusion and anger always makes for a good side in my experience. Like, just what, huh, who, huh? Like, you don't know how to react. Your body's contorting in a bunch of different ways. That was me after someone threw a beer at me at a bar after Aroldis Chapman gave up a home run to Jose Altuve. Real story. Didn't throw it at me, threw it at the TV right next to me, and I was just like upset that the Astros won, but then very, very confused at what just happened and why am I soaking wet? What just happened? Look, another anecdote. Like, I remember in high school, I was in a class, and I really related to Aaron Boone because of this. I was, writing my notes, because me, very studious person. I never do. I always pay attention in class. I'm just doing this, and then my friend's talking to me. I think about the new Call of Duty, which is like, I don't even know which one it was at that time. And then the teacher writes my name on the board for like the after school detention thing. And Peter Appel, I had an Aaron Boone moment. I was like, what? I threw my pen in the air. And like everyone like woke up and it was like laughing. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. People tried to defend me. They were like, it wasn't him. He was sitting quiet. So I'm with you, Aaron Boone. I get it. Quietly, Aaron Boone, man. If he's controversial, I think, in the Yankee fan base sometimes. But he's had some funny moments, the savages in the box, which my conspiracy theory has saved his job. I really think going viral like that saved his job. Just some of the John Boy moments, sitting crisscross applesauce, was very, I don't know, just funny to me.
That is a good one. The sitting crisscross applesauce. Like, what are you doing, dude? He's on the floor. Like, yeah, he's overall as a manager, I'm not. They make the manager on Yankee Twitter at least very polarizing. Like, like, oh, you don't hate him? It's like, no. I mean, he's winning a lot of games. He's not perfect. He's not the best manager in baseball. But is he a good manager? Yes. Like, the internet is so polarizing that the word good is like no longer a thing. Like, it doesn't have to be great or amazing or the best. Good. He's a good manager.
Trash or goated. That's it.
He's probably the 11th best manager in baseball. 12th. It's good. He's a good manager. Like, should he be fired? Okay, but then you better hire a top 10 guy. You know what I'm saying? Don't just bring in somebody off the street. So I think he's a good manager. I think he has flaws, but he also has a lot of things that make me laugh. And I enjoy, and he does win games too. So I would keep him.
I really do believe that Savages of the Box just completely saved his approval rating. And like, there's just something, there's just like that one super fun. It was awesome because he was right. The Yankees were disgusting that year. Like, he was like, my guys are sat there. Like, what are you doing here? Gardner's doing the like hitting the top of the wall. Like,
a good one.
Yankees culture is both annoying and like, we talked about facial hair earlier, right? Like, just the very like kind of pretentious attitude that it has sometimes, but it does have some funny little tidbits where you're like, what is going on here? Like, this is a very silly team. Why is Aaron Hicks still playing? Yeah. Gleyber Torres is so weird. Like, there's occasional stuff there, but yeah, man, I agree with you. Aaron Boone getting tossed, and it wasn't even his fault. It was a fan. Just, I'm with you, man. Peter, let's close this out with just a couple of other things that didn't make our list. And I might even swap one in because I'm not going to lie. I had a mean start. I had a Minnesota Vikings 2023 start with my John Fisher and Abrams and Clase. Don't know how I feel about the last ones.
You got to keep Fisher. You got to keep Abrams. I think removing Clase, if you were going to remove one, just because it was like, it was funny in the moment. And then the more it happened, it got sad, where a lot of these, it was just funny the entire time.
Right.
But I agree with
think
you. When I first saw that post where he posted his awards, I was like, what
it was funny.
But then I was like, now I feel bad.
Yeah, now I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, damn, this is really good. This sucks.
What would be the one that can I give you an option to slide in?
I've got a few. And one of them has to do with a closer. But I don't know if this is too biased, and it's just who I am as a baseball fan.
Yeah, you can't have all Padres stuff because
it's not Padres.
Okay.
It is Padres a little bit. Josh Hader. All right, it's an honorable mention. Josh Hader blowing the save this year was really funny. Like, it just got me.
A save?
The save. Like the Astros one, the playoff one.
Oh, they signed the big time reliever and they finally
get to
a spot where they need Josh Hader and he blows the save.
It's not juicy enough. You know what I mean? It's just not. And everybody already hates Josh Hader for very justifiable reasons. But I'm not going to use that one. There is a universe in which I really think we can have a serious conversation about this. And suddenly getting serious on like the Dave Chappelle meme. Like, there's a world where I really think it's important to talk about this idea of work and tying all like our value as people to work. And I do think that other cultures view this in different ways. Nikola Jokic of the NBA. Like, a lot of people like joking about how this guy's like, yeah, it's a job. You know what I mean? I go out there and like, I like it. It's cool. I'm glad that I'm great at it. But I care about my daughters, my wife, and my horses, right? Like, that's my main thing. But here's the issue, Peter. When you are Anthony Rendon.
That's a good one to add. Yeah.
When you are Anthony Rendon and you come out, it's never been a top priority for me. Rendon said Monday about baseball as he reported to spring training, beginning of last year. This is a job. I do this to make a living. My faith, my family come first before this job. So if those things come before it, I'm leaving. In a vacuum, I really do think there's an important conversation to be had that's like, guys, it's actually like, I think it's healthy that we create and foster a little bit of a culture that doesn't just make your whole value depending on your line of work. That being said, you cannot say that, my guy. You posted on Twitter recently when it was announced that Rendon will be having another surgery, that he hit 33 home runs his last year, the year with the Angels. He's hit 25 in total since before COVID, Peter. This man has hit less home runs in 1 year he did with the Angels. It is just what you cannot be the person to say that, because it's not even like if Chris Bryant said it, or no, not Chris Bryant. If Eric Hosmer said this, I'm going to be honest. I'd be like, okay, at least he shows up. You know, like he's there all the time.
Well, use your comparison with Joker, right? Joker is
he's also an amazing player.
He's like arguably the best player in the NBA. It's different when he's saying it because it's almost like it's not. Yeah, it's not charismatic, but it you can relate to it a little bit. But you know that Joker is going to give 110% of his effort, and he's one of the best players. While Anthony Rendon being horrible, getting paid some of the most money in all of baseball to just get hurt and not play, and then you come out and say, well, yeah, it's not in front of my family and my faith. Nobody's asking you to put your family on the line in order to play this game.
Yeah, this isn't the fan.
Just show up. Like, what do you mean? You're getting paid $38 million a year. Like, 99% of the planet will never make $38 million in their life. You make that every year. So it's like, all we're asking is for you to show up. If you play poorly, but you are trying, that happens. But it's like, and then he's fighting with people. Do you remember that I think it was with the A's
and this is something that
it's a disaster.
I alluded to this with Clase, where it's like, it is funny.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, bitch, come here. Like, I was like, whoa,
it's so bad. It's objectively hilarious how bad
that fan has the story for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? Like, good shouts to that fan. But I mentioned with Clase, where it's like, I do hate when people call athletes sensitive, because guys, the people are shouting shit at them like all the time. And if they react to one, they're sensitive. That I think the fans are sensitive for making a big deal out of that. But in this case, you cannot be someone who's missed as many games as he had and come out and say this. And as a result, I think the real title I'll give this selection about is just Anthony Rendon made himself a meme. Every time people are like, there's Valentine's Day cards that I've seen where people they're like, hey, I won't put I won't leave. I forgot what it was. I'm forget that I said that. But Rendon, all these jokes about how it's spring training season, condolences to Anthony Rendon. Like, that's where we're at with him. So that's another nomination of mine, an honorable mention. I'm going to quickly go through.
I think you should put Anthony Rendon in except for Clase, and just on the graphic, it'll just say everything Anthony Rendon has done.
Anthony, yeah, that's a good idea. Everything Anthony Rendon has done.
Like, no specific moment. It's just all of his bullshit in one is hilarious. My 2 honorable mentions, I'll just give it to you straight out. This one, I was surprised that you didn't add to your list, but it's not very well known, but it should be more well known. On August 22nd, in a game between the Rays and the A's, there was a guy who had a collared shirt, and it's decorated with all of broccoli, and he has 2 huge broccoli sticks in each hand, and he's just dancing. Look it up on Twitter. He's called like the broccoli guy or something. And he has been in a couple of other games. And I just think it's objective, like, so weird but funny. First of all, how are you getting the broccoli into the game? Like,
some places have little snack pack policies, I think. Yeah.
But these are like big stalks of broccoli. And he's on camera just dancing with broccoli while wearing all broccoli attire.
Remember that song when we were in college?
That's why I didn't make my list, because it's more weird. But I've seen it now a few times. And I'm like, why is this not like more famous? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it. You remember that song "Broccoli" when we were in college? That was
of course.
That was a banger. Maybe that's what he is. Maybe it's nostalgia for him.
And another honorable mention for me that I didn't add because it's sad for me, but I would expect it to be funny for everybody else. The Yankees' 5th inning in the World Series was objectively hilarious.
God, most people.
It was. I mean, imagine you, like, I mean, you're a Padres fan, so you don't want to see the Dodgers win. But if you're not a fan of a rival team of the Dodgers, or you didn't care who won, seeing Aaron Judge make that error in center field, like, did you know that was Aaron Judge's first error of the year?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Of the entire season. And then who else makes a bad play? Anthony Volpe. What is he known for on the Yankees?
Defense. Yeah.
Anthony Rizzo and Garrett Cole, they're good friends. What happens? Communication, covering first base. Like, all of it too. It wasn't like Dominguez, who's been bad at defense, like dropping a ball. That would make sense because he hasn't played well. No, it's the best player on the field making the error. It's arguably your best defender then making the error. And then it's the 2 friends, Anthony Rizzo and Garrett Cole, not communicating.
That was
horrible, but funny for everybody else.
Dude, this is going to stick with Judge, though. On a serious note, like,
it's
one of those things. It's like with my favorite quarterback, like, until you amend it, fair or not. And in some cases with Judge, it's unfair because he's been in the playoffs more than just the last 2 years. Like, he was great those first 2 or 3. But this is what's sticking with him right now. And frankly, I'm wondering if catching a whiff. I'm believing the Soto Judge beef just a tiny bit. I don't care. I might just believe it just for fun.
I hope there's beef. It makes the sport better.
Yeah, right.
I hope there's rivals. Just the best players on the planet. I would love.
Can it be like the A-Rod Jeter type, where it's just all passive aggressive? I'll take it. You know what I mean? I'll take it.
That it would turn into A-Rod Jeter if Soto stayed and there was animosity or something.
True.
But this is like Soto was only here for a year, and this is the Mets are now Soto's 4th team. So it's not like he's more loyal to the Yankees than he was the Padres, and definitely not as much as the Nationals. So I hope there's something there. That would be more fun.
Yeah, it'd be more fun. I'm going to list off my remaining ones just in case you think that maybe these are more worthy as well. It's just this is too Baseball Insider. That's why it didn't make my official list. But Teoscar Hernandez, this is how I know we're sickos. Signing with the Dodgers for basically nothing last year. And literally everyone was like, this is going to be awesome.
Everyone said he couldn't hit in T-Mobile. He raked on the road. He was great in Toronto. Somebody should sign him to a multi-year deal. Nobody did. And the Dodgers got him for a year and was like, duh.
This, by the way, ignore Yamamoto, ignore Ohtani. Every team in baseball can sign guys like that. Every single team can sign guys like that. But they choose not to. And he was good for, what is it last year? 3.5 WAR. 33 home runs, 134 WRC plus, and it's not like this came out of nowhere like Jurickson Profar, right? Jurickson Profar was a little bit like, damn, what the hell? But
he's been objectively good for the Blue Jays for a long time.
So I do think it's just really funny that everyone saw this coming. Paul Skeen's not reacted to the Cy Young. Problem with this is is always what he's been.
That was
almost it was a little badass, right?
Like, he doesn't even care.
Yeah, that Livy's reacting more than him, and he's just like, yeah, man. It's like, is he stoned? Like, I don't know what's going on here. But shouts to Paul Skeens. Hey, maybe he's not satisfied. Little Jalen Hurts type of energy he brought there. You know what I mean? Just
I
like,
like it.
whatever, man.
I like it.
Just all the various chains Jazz wears. But this fits more cool than funny. That's the reason this didn't get here. Although he's had plenty of funny moments. I imagine he'll have some this year. Vladdy Jr. being amazing after he cut his hair. Here are the numbers.
Yeah.
Slash line of 278, 365, 394, 122 WRC plus. It's not bad. That's not bad. That was through June 19th. After that, gets rid of the dreads, gets rid of everything. He slashes for the rest of the season from June 19th onward. 359, 420, 665. Good for a 200 WRC plus.
He was Aaron Judge post haircut.
I mean, you know, Yankees, I wasn't familiar with your game. Like maybe they were onto something. I don't know. But shouts to him. Talked about the Josh Hader thing, whatever. Last but not least, the Giants trading Jorge Soler and not Blake Snell and losing him for nothing, making it the third ace pitcher that they've lost for nothing. Blake Snell, then Kevin Gausman and Carlos Rodon, and then Farhan Zaidi signing with the Dodgers and then contributing to my sleeper agent theory and allegation. Just look, man, I'm getting a little depressed at the end of this pod now. I just like, why does this have to happen, man?
Let me get you happy just to go over my picks again, just to make you
Yes,
laugh.
let's do it. Yeah.
Alex Verdugo being allergic to batting gloves. Objectively funny. Josh Naylor hitting a home run, then hitting himself on the head with a bat. Objectively funny. Cal Quantril, you jacked off in a parking lot, you dumb effer. Then started the brawl. Aaron Boone getting ejected after the umpire responded to what a fan said, thought it was him, and the most confused, angry rant we got to see. And then I think the best part of my list is OMG by Jose Iglesias becoming an anthem.
It was good, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It's so good.
It worked.
It's so good. But it's like really just phenomenal set of occurrences for you to have a hit, and he's also having a good season, and he's a Major League Baseball player. Crazy stuff. My list finalized. CJ Abrams' gambling incident with the photo, getting suspended, all of that. John Fisher citing not an Oakland A's player, but Aaron Judge. Soto looking back at the umpire after a bad call and after he gets a base hit. Ken Rosenthal's entire sinister sling agenda that, frankly, was a little bit insulting too, compared to Bryce Harper for no reason. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And then lastly, everything Anthony Rendon, frankly. And it really started, it kicked off with, on top of everything we saw about him before, him not playing well, and then him, grabbing the fan, and then him being like, yeah, bro, y'all be easy. That's how it read. That's not what he said, but everything Anthony Rendon. Peter, unlike Anthony Rendon, I think we put it all into this podcast today. I think we did a kick-ass job. Do you have anything you'd like to plug for the good listeners before we say see ya?
Absolutely. For everybody listening, just make sure to go follow me on Twitter at Peter Appel 23, spelled APPEL, not like the fruit. You can follow all of my articles on justbaseball.com. And if you aren't already listening, go check out the Just Baseball show. Absolutely
go do that. It's time, man. We're getting there. It's going to be a blast. Everybody go check out previous episodes of this show. You can also follow me on Twitter/X as well as Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. Follow Baseball versus the World on Twitter as well. Baseball versus World. We're going to be posting more on there. I'm going to be posting on my own personal TikTok clips of the show and the Instagram. Definitely check that out where you can get graphics of what we've been talking about today and all sorts of funness. The show is back in full swing. But Peter, with that all being said, that about does it for today's edition of Baseball versus the World, the podcast about how the rest baseball relates to the rest of the world and how the rest of the world relates to baseball, part of the Just Baseball Media Network. Until next time, stay golden and stay loving all things baseball.